Many of you have been asking about the final project, so I decided to go ahead and put together the screencast. I will be emailing the screencast. I will also be uploading it to Leo for you, and I want you to be thinking about whether or not you have all the materials that you need to be successful in the end. But I know many of you want to start working ahead, and because of the fact that we are on this, on this extended or distance learning experience, I figured that I should give you that option because that should really be the advantage of this type of learning, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I want to remind you that this is actually going to be about the book. You can see the book right there by Doug Lemoff called Teach Like a Champion 2.0, 62 Techniques that put students on the path to college. And what you're going to be asking is how can educational psychology inform instructional choices by the teacher? We're going to use all of these techniques, these 62 techniques outlined in the book. We're going to think of them in terms of those are instructional choices. Those are choices the teacher has on strategies that they're going to use in their classroom to set their students up for success. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to think about your topic. So you want to think about what are you interested in learning more about, and that's really an important part of this project because I think that having an interesting topic will really motivate you to do well. So think of something that you really kind of caught your attention this year, maybe something that you really see as being important to your future teaching or even as aligning with the teacher that you want to be. So you might think about like motivation, go back to the idea of how to motivate students. You might want to think about like constructivism and how to use constructive learning strategies. Maybe you want to think about developmentalism. Some of you, really a number of you were talking about metacognition, and maybe you want to know more about metacognition. Because of the distance learning, I couldn't get into some topics I was hoping to get into, like for instance, multiple intelligences and learning styles. But that's something that you can use. So you can talk about, like when we're talking about diversity in the classroom, you could look into the chapters that are about diversity in the classroom if you wanted to get into those topics. Something I want you to really consider might be thinking about metacognition. A lot of you have expressed an interest in metacognition, but a little bit off on what it means, and so it might be a really cool opportunity for you to learn more about a topic that you have a lot of interest in. My examples are going to be about PBIS, which is a topic that we got from the state support team. She came and talked to us about it. And so I want you to think about a topic that is meaningful to you personally. And I want you to pick that topic. For your project, okay? There's a lot in the handout, so if you go into Leo, you'll see that there's a lot in the handout, and you're not limited to the topics that are on that handout. But what you need to do, the first step you need to do is you need to figure out how we covered that topic in the first place. So I want you to go ahead and I want you to reread the educational psychology book. Maybe you want to go into the notes. The slides are all uploaded onto Leo. Maybe you want to look at some of the old videos. Maybe you have some notes in your notebook. But you're going to create a memo. This memo is going to be due on the 15th. And the memo looks like this, and I do have the sample loaded up onto Leo for you, but it's just a very informal where you're going to first tell me why you're interested in the topic, why you're interested in it. Then you're going to tell me what are the things that we already know, what are at least 5 bulleted points that you already know. So my topic is PBIS, and I actually talked about things that were shared at the state support team when a woman from the state support team came and talked to us, and then I also shared some of the things that I found out in my reviewing of the textbook. And then you're going to talk about what are some questions, lingering questions you still have. So I came up with 5 topics. Those will become the basis for me to do my research. But they'll help to guide my research. But they're not like strict. You can change up those questions as you learn more about your topic. But so that's the first step, is to submit that memo to me by the 15th. Okay. Then you're going to conduct research. Mrs. Persis is going to share with us how to use the databases for distance learning. So you'll get that help, but I really want you to consider using academic sources for this. Please don't use popular sources. Please use academic sources for this. I'm going to really ding you on the content if I don't see academic sources. So what you're going to do then is when you're writing your paper, you're going to do two things. You're going to answer the questions in your research, and you're going to use academic sources to answer the question, but then you're also going to go back to Teach Like a Champion, and you're going to find like 3 to 5 strategies that you think those strategies, part of the reason why they are good strategies is because of the fact that they are grounded in psychological theory and ideas. So you'll see the techniques. There's 62 different techniques. The book is nicely so. When I decided that I was going to do PBIS, I knew that the topic that I could look for was were more about behavior management, and so I went over to classroom culture, and I looked at behavioral expectations. I did a lot of reading of behavioral expectations, a lot of reading on building character traits. So I want you to think about your topic, and then I want you to think about your research topic, and then I want you to think about, what parts of the book maybe are going to be talking about that. So what you're going to do is you're going to find 3 to 5 strategies that are shared in the book that you think are grounded in the educational ideas that you found through your research. So I do have a sample paper loaded up for you, but you'll see that the paper is it's used as a, it's very casual. I don't want you to feel like you have to be super academic in your language. You can use a little bit of a narration, but essentially what I do is I go over with what I learned through my research. I cite my sources, and then I go in and I talk about what are the techniques, the strategies that I found that used the ideas that are inherent to PBIS. And so that's something, and you'll see I also include references in here. So that's something for you to consider as well, okay? So, all right, and you can borrow I have the right APA format for the textbook and the Teach Like a Champion book, so you can use that as well. All right, so that paper is going to be due on the 24th. All of these, by the way, are due at 11:55 p.m. for these days, so we'll have the full day to do that. So on the 24th, you're going to go ahead and you're going to upload your formal paper, okay? But then, because I don't want us to just learn and not share, I created this website using Padlet. And this website using Padlet is sorry about that. My dog was getting into my garbage pan. This website using Padlet, you're going to upload a very simple handout where in the handout you are going to be sharing, condensing. You're just going to talk about one strategy that you talked about 3 to 5 in the paper. For the handout, you're just going to pick one strategy. And very simple, you do a visual that somehow represents the strategy. So in this one, I have the strategy warm strict on page 428. I put my picture, explain why I have the picture, then I explain the technique on one side, and then I explain how it relates to my research on the other side. So you'll see that I added all of those. And then I just included my references again. The reason I include my references is if somebody is really interested in this, I wanted them to be able to find out, to find the same information that I found. Okay, so when you go into a Padlet is very easy. All you have to do is you double click where you want it, and then you can click that you're going to upload a paper in there. Okay, so that's really simple for you to use. So that'll be something that you do. You're going to upload it to Padlet by the 29th of April. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to learn from others. So by the 4th of May, you're going to go back into Padlet and you're going to review the comments left, or the handouts left by 5 of your classmates. And you'll just learn and will absorb some of our information that we got from others. Please don't forget that I am always here, and don't wait till the last minute to ask for help, because if you run into problems, that's, I left you, here's my phone number. If you wanted to text me, I'd be happy to give you a phone call, answer your questions individually. I also, obviously, my email. I'm thinking about whether or not we need Google Meets. I mean, a lot of it depends on how comfortable you feel after these directions and after I share all the handouts with you. And I will share the video that Mrs. Purses will give us on how to use the library databases. I will share that with you once I get it, okay? So total points, actually, it's 100 and, what am I saying? It's 135, I believe. It is, the memo's 15, no, it's 140. I can't do my math. I'm sorry, guys. The memo is 15. The handout is 15. The paper is 100. And the Padlet comments are 10. So everything, due dates, once again, the first thing, the memo is due on the 15th. The paper is due on the 24th. Your handout needs to be uploaded on Padlet by the 29th, and then you need to read and review each other's comments by the 4th, okay? So other than this, the only other homework the only other work that we're going to have, I still want you're going to have to do the reading on assessments. So the first reading on assessments, chapter 11, I'd like you to do that for Friday. This Friday, which is, let me pull up my phone so I can get the dates. I don't know about you guys, but it's really hard for me to keep track of the dates. So on the 10th, by the 10th, I want you to have read the chapter on teacher-made assessments. For the 13th, I'd like you to have read the chapter on standardized assessments. So we're going to learn on assessments. We're going to have, on the 15th, we're going to meet with Michael Acomb, who is the principal at Solon Middle School. And we'll have one other assignment that I'll upload where I'm going to ask you to kind of read something about assessment. So we'll do that. Really important topic, obviously, especially all the discussion about standardized testing. So there'll be one short activity on that. And then there is just this assignment. I'm pretty much kind of really bringing us, bringing the class to a close and giving you time to just work on this assignment, okay? So if you have any questions, please be sure to let me know. Otherwise, we'll be in touch.